The National with Peter Kent.
Good evening.
The National with Knowlton Nash. The National with George McLean.
Good evening.
Wednesday, December 19th. Tonight, on The National, none for the road. Ottawa plans new penalties for drinking drivers. Spying on the Soviets. The U.S. government blames the media for making details public. And on The Journal, second thoughts about social welfare. Old age security and baby bonus called into question. The debate over taxing back the monthly checks. The National with Knowlton Nash. Good evening. Wednesday, September 16th. Tonight, on The National, laying down the law. The Pope says church doctrine isn't negotiable. The Chrysler strike. Unions across Canada watch the fight for better pensions. And on The Journal, Team Canada skates to victory. What'll they do for an encore? And watching the watchers. What's gone wrong with Canada's security service? The National with Knowlton Nash.
Monday, February 24th. Tonight on The National, Ottawa slashes cod quotas on the East Coast. GM cuts 2,000 jobs in Ontario. And on The Journal, the mysterious baby deaths at Toronto's Sick Children's Hospital. After a decade, questions linger. Tonight, an interview with Susan Nellis. The National with Peter Mansbridge.
Good evening. The writing was on the wall.
From CBC News.
Tonight, dead heat in Israel. Labour and Likud neck and neck. The Mounties move in. The raid on the mayor's Dubai. Charles and Diana on friendlier terms.
And on our magazine, the referendum on Mideast peace. Which vision will prevail? Staying on the fast track or slowing down? Israel's difficult choice and the uncertain outcome. And he won, but just.
Boy, was that close or what?
Glenn Clark and the NDP got a slimmed-down majority and a mixed message on deficits, taxes, and social programs. So what is the mandate for the 39% premier?
The National with Hannah Gartner and Peter Mansbridge.
Good evening. He presented himself as the...
From CBC News.
Tonight, high drama.
Much better.
A Christmas Eve rescue on Whistler Mountain. Dollar dilemma.
Forget the American holiday, forget the Caribbean.
Snowbirds reconsider as the loony heads south. And tending the flock. The shepherds of Bethlehem in a modern world.
And on the magazine, Mother Teresa. She saw the world suffering and could not look away.
This is what Jesus came to teach us, how to love one another.
An exclusive documentary, the life and work of Mother Teresa, the saint of the slums.
The National with Hannah Gartner and Eric Sorensen.
Good evening. Christmas has come.
Scorched earth.
Just a fire waiting to happen. Soybeans and particularly corn has been devastated.
From tinder dry forests to parched farmers' fields, is drought taking hold across the land? On track. The World Amateur Games begin in Edmonton, but how many Canadians will end up on the podium?
We have demonstrated our commitment as provinces to health care. What we're simply now asking the federal government, it's time for you to demonstrate your commitment.
Plus, Eric Sorensen with a wrap-up of the Premier's Conference. Linda Calvert with an update on the identity of Newfoundland's mysterious sea beast. And Terry Malewski on the new walls around the ancient city of Jericho.
The National. From the Canadian Broadcasting Centre, here is Peter Mansbridge.
Good evening. Well, we are now in the heart. Tonight, election turnover. The Liberals defeat the PQ and take power in Quebec. Game over.
Tikrit now belongs to the Iraqi people again, no longer to Saddam.
Coalition troops roll into Saddam Hussein's hometown. The glow of victory. Mike Weir talks about his historic win at the Masters. And cold case.
They didn't treat it like a homicide. It's just like another Indian dying.
3 years after this man froze to death in Saskatoon, troubling questions remain.
This is not an isolated incident.
A CBC News investigation.
The National. From the Canadian Broadcasting Centre, here is Peter Mansbridge.
Good evening. A red Liberal Times.
Tonight, accident report.
The van would not have passed a motor vehicle inspection in its pre-collision state.
Faulty brakes, worn tires. What was wrong with a vehicle that crashed, killing 7 high schoolers and a teacher? Breakdown.
We could see that something had definitely changed.
A massive chunk of Arctic ice falls off. What does this tell us about Canada's north? California shaken.
In California, we have to be prepared for anything and everything.
The Golden State takes a jolt. Is it a wake-up call? And the Book of Negroes.
Jack Hyde, he's age 50.
A haunting true story, an award-winning novel.
You're the winner this year.
I am.
Meet author Lawrence Hill.
The National. Here is Wendy Mesley.
Good evening.
It really made me feel like this isn't a democracy.
Are you feeling shut out of this election campaign? Good evening, I'm Peter Mansbridge, and this is The National. Some voters complain the Conservatives are turning them away.
Every Canadian should be worried about that. You're in a very un-Canadian place.
But can they turn controversy into opportunity?
We get more people coming out to our events combined than all the other parties combined.
And on the insiders, the polls that really count in a campaign, the polls you never see. Jamie and David tell us all about it. Police in New York search for a serial killer after they find several bodies. And want to put some spring in your step? We'll share the latest science about the run that's right for you.
Good evening, I'm Heather Hiscox, and this is The National. Terrorism charges laid in yesterday's attack. New details about the suspect and the U.S. immigration policy the president says is to blame.
Diversity lottery sounds nice, it's not nice.
A devastating crash on one of Ontario's busiest highways.
I can't believe what I see.
What it could mean to the future of trucking. There's something new at Canadian grocery stores. Allegations of price fixing in the bread aisle. Plus, A dying language is in the spotlight. We're on set for the making of the first feature film entirely in Haida. Questioned by U.S. authorities in his hospital bed.
It's Thursday, March 1st, and this is The National.
Tonight, Vladimir Putin threatens the West with what he calls an invincible nuclear weapon. Just how much should the world worry?
Mountain Equipment Co-op drops brands linked to American gun makers. Could other Canadian retailers follow suit?
Donald Trump threatens a trade war over steel, what it could mean for Canada. And Chantal, Andrew, and Althea on the dinner invitation that haunts the Prime Minister.
Vladimir Putin has made no secret he wants Russia to return as a superpower.
This Friday night, sending Canadians into harm's way. CBC News has learned Canada will take on a major new peacekeeping deployment. The government set to announce the plan on Monday. But the country's first new mission in years is also one of the UN's most dangerous. So, why are Canadians going to West Africa, and why now?
Also tonight, Britain's anger at Russia turns personal. Vladimir Putin the target, and some WestJet flight attendants air their wage complaints. This is The National.
Last night, we reported that Canada's involvement in peacekeeping missions was at an all-time low.